So it's 6:02 according to my computer. I'll call the meeting to order. Do we have an approval for the agenda as it's written?
So moved.
Seconded.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the agenda as it's written, say aye.
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 Opposed or abstained? None? Okay. Now, it would appear that we have some public on here, so I'll make this comment initially at the beginning. This is public comment time. You'll have 2 minutes apiece to speak if you choose to. Once the public comment closes, this board will no longer recognize you for any comment. So do we have any public comment? Okay, I'm seeing and hearing none. So we will move into the Rural School Community Alliance collaboration. I would imagine we'll probably have a short discussion about it, and then we'll call for a vote whichever way we want to go.
Stephanie, did you want to start?
Yeah, hold on. I'm having technical difficulties.
We can hear you.
Can you? Oh, you can or you can't?
We can.
Oh,
We can hear you
okay. I
fine.
guess I'm not having, I can't hear you guys very well. So that's why I keep leaning in like I have no hearing. So reading all the literature, everything looks great. Of course, I live in Belvedere. I represent the Belvedere and Waterville school children amongst everyone in the district. But and it's important to advocate for our small schools. One question that I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't, if we were in one group, that it isn't like there's like us versus them. Like we should be working collaboratively with the state.
That looked like a technical difficulty.
Yeah. And we were, is she back? Because I could summarize our conversation.
Looks like she's coming back.
Yeah.
Stephanie, if you rejoin us, just continue.
Oh, good. Okay, and now I can hear you too. Where did I fall off?
Collaboration.
Oh, yeah, that it should be a collaborative approach and not an us versus them. And that would be the only thing that I would want to make sure that if we were part of like the alliance, say, that it wouldn't be an us versus them mentality, because that could do more harm than good.
Mark, I think Bart's question to Margaret McLean was a really good one, in that he talked about whether some of the tenets of the alliance could be folded into 454. And by the time 454 is finally finished, it's going to look very, very, very different, just given the commentary I'm hearing about. And she said yes. So I like what Stephanie said, because I think that what we do and what we generally do is work with our community partners. And in this case, it would be this alliance, to take the best of the pieces that they state that really is in support of the livelihoods and the hearts of our communities, and that is our small schools, to best serve our kids. So, for example, they support the creation of a new subcommittee. 454 does the same. Recommendations and decisions about class size or school or district size should be a thoughtful, intentional, slow approach. We agree with that. Total school enrollments divided by the number of core classroom teachers be used to target class sizes. I mean, they really are also stressing what we have stressed, and that is that this cannot be let's just, articulate a number of districts and move forward. That feels ridiculously short-sighted. The rural approach and the approach of the VSA, VSBA has been very similar to this. The one thing that seems to be slightly different is the preservation of SUs. And I think that bears more conversation. I know that, and I don't know if Kim Hunt is on here, but we had a discussion about this earlier, where the concern is that when you have individual boards for communities, there are different opportunities. We see it now. Cambridge has this amazing ability to fundraise, and they do things that some of our other schools cannot do. And so I just urge, oh, there's Kim. I just urge people to think about that. And Kim, did you want to speak to what you had said earlier today?
Yeah, I too agree with so much of what's been said, that there are so many positive aspects to this, and thinking about, not having young children on buses for lengths of time that would not be healthy for them, and other things like that, I think are so important. But I do worry as a curriculum director, thinking about every school having its own, or every town having its own board and moving off into different directions, when inevitably those kids come back together to learn in 6th or 7th grade. And then when you have, you don't have an aligned curriculum and that whole mix comes together, you get a lot of learning loss. There's a lost opportunity there when we're not in sync. So that was one concern I had.
And that was like the only one. I mean, so much of what this group stands for are things that we stand for. And again, I don't want to say the group, and we all are standing for the same things.
Yep.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
I remember when my older son came to the middle school. Now, he graduated in 2013. So he started middle school 6 years before that. They would actually have to, the Cambridge kids would be bored because they had to take time to catch the other kids in the district up to Cambridge. And I think we've done a great job since then of aligning the curriculum so every kid that comes in is on basically the same level when they start 7th grade. So I think we almost would have something to give to the Alliance as well, that we've done a lot of things that would be helpful to other schools, which is nice.
Well, the only thing I'll comment on, this board has done a tremendous amount of work within the public to get public support.
Yeah.
We turned around a budget in 2 years that went down. We had to vote on 3 times, and this time we got it on the first one, a 2-to-1 margin. So this board has a lot of huge positives with the public. We've done a lot of work with the public to get them to where we are. I guess I'll describe it like this. I agree with all of you on what this alliance is about and what they're doing. But I guess as a board chair and kind of having that thought process that I kind of look out for the whole thing like everybody else does, we're all marching to the band of we want to be the best school system in the state. That's our driving goal, and that's what we work for. And if this alliance were to choose to go off the rails, like I would like to say, and go in maybe a different direction, I'm hoping that we have the option to saying maybe not what we want to be involved in. So that would be the only input that I would have. We work very well together as a board, with our administrators, with our teachers, with everybody. I don't want to lose that piece that we have. And as soon as you have your name put on as a member of this alliance, now all of a sudden everything you represent is being represented there as well. And if something goes sideways with the alliance accidentally, however, we join that group that we're saying we are part of in that sideways motion, if you will. So that's the only comment that I've got. I can't believe that would happen, but that's my 2 cents. Kyle?
Thank you. Yeah, I hear these fears. I also heard Margaret say that we could have representation on the alliance if we chose to. It sounds like some superintendents have and some other board members. So I think that we would have if we choose to, have a presence and a voice. And should things go off the rails or in a direction, we would have input, first of all. And then second, if things were going in a different direction, then we could call that out or speak to it or have a thoughtful discussion around it. So I personally feel like right now, more than ever, it is power in numbers, and we need to join a group that is working so hard to champion, 95% of what we're already on board about right now. So I'm in support of moving forward with this.
Take myself off mute. Anybody else? Any other board members that have a comment?
Yeah, Mark, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay, let me pull over here. Yeah, I guess I would kind of echo what you had just said. I guess my concern, and I appreciate the work that the Alliance is doing. I mean, my understanding is that they, as a group, will do this work regardless of whether or not we're part of that alliance. My only concern is, I guess, similar to what you were saying, Mark, is once you join something like this, they effectively would be speaking for us in a lot of ways. Do we want to have somebody else speaking for us? I guess would be my concern. And that is, as you said, if our priorities started to deviate from what theirs are, then we could have a problem. So I guess that would be my only concern.
Anybody else?
No, I guess. Oh, sorry, Nancy.
Oh, go ahead.
I think that the Alliance is composed of people that really love kids, understand education, know critical elements that need to be included in a future proposal. And it's a way for people that care to come together as a group and fight for the things that are important. And there's strength in numbers. And yes, very proud of our district, and we can go alone and do that. But why not take advantage of the wealth of educators around the state with a lot of energy to help us in that goal of shaping the next structure for our education system? So I would be in favor of joining. And if there's something, I can't imagine, but if there is something that we're extremely opposed to, then withdraw from the group. Go on record.
I think I'm definitely, I would echo Nancy's sentiment. I kind of stated my 2 cents on the board meeting the other night. It seems like there's a lot of benefit in to be had around amplifying our voice, where we do have probably vast alignment with this group. And I'm weighing that in relation to the risk that things go sideways. I mean, it does seem to be in which case I do think we have, if we think things go really poorly, I would think this wouldn't be a permanent decision. We could withdraw if we had to. But that being said, it seems like this group is pretty thoughtful and applies a common sense approach in a lot of their thinking and testimony. And ultimately, I think that pushes me toward wanting to align with this group.
Denise?
Could we vote on it pending, like if we all said yes, as long as we had the option of pulling out of the alliance? I mean, is there, and then someone could follow up with her?
I'll answer that for me. I would much prefer to vote that we go on it,
Mhm.
and then maybe in a side conversation with the people that run it, let them know that, a lot like what Kyle said. If there's something that goes the way we don't want it to, or whatever, that it's probably not the place we need to be. Although I agree with what you're saying, I'm a bit either we do or we don't.
And then if you spoke to them and they said, "Oh no, once you're on," would you then have the power to say, "Oh,
do that.
They don't sound like that's where they're at.
no," and I don't think they will either. And
So.
I agree with what others have said about the strength in numbers.
Yeah.
And I would also just say, and this is primarily for the minutes, that the Rural Schools Community Alliance and the VSA agree on 99% of the pieces that they believe are important are in the hearts and minds of the VSA, VSBA, and this group. And so I think this is more about standing together rather than adopting one over another, or adopting, we are together in this. And I think that needs to be stated strongly.
Mhm.
Any other thoughts? And if not, we can put a motion together that would basically say a lot what Kath and Denise both said, but in a polite way, basically, that we would like to go forward working collaboratively with them, and go from there. So are we ready to make this motion, or?
I don't mind making the motion that let's say the Lamoille North. Do I have to? Sometimes I have to see it.
Modified Union School District.
Yes, that us. I move that we join the Rural Alliance. Is it a membership? I think
we're just joining the alliance, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Mhm.
And that we stand together.
Great.
I will second that motion.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, Mark, can I say something?
Sure.
This alliance thing, we've always had it. It's called taxpayers. They have the right to come to the meetings. They have a right to write articles, express their opinions. But I don't want to get us into a position where we're going to follow everything that they want and have the taxpayers back home thinking that we're doing that. Because they're up there anyways. They're called taxpayers.
Okay. Anybody? Stephanie?
From a community taxpayer perspective, I have had several people in the community, grocery store, gas station approach us, and they support us joining the alliance.
Yeah, I'll echo what Stephanie just said. I think I've heard more community in support of us joining this alliance than would be potentially against this.
There's noise coming from somewhere.
Right.
What is
I'm
that
sorry.
background
Someone
noise?
has some background noise if they can mute.
Sounds like kids fighting.
Yeah.
It does, doesn't it?
I'll also echo that I've had taxpayers, community members also express their desire for us to join this alliance. And I believe that the taxpayer is the one that brought this to our attention even as something that we should take up. So.
Yeah, but
Jan?
we don't want to get in the position where they're taxpayers, some of them are not thinking this way, want to think that they're dictating to the board what the board does. The state of Vermont it does that in their laws, and the School Boards Association keeps us informed, and I've been to several meetings of the School Boards Association, and so we've got the thing already. And then I go back to the thing. It's the taxpayer, the one paying the bill, has a right to speak out anytime.
Jan?
I'm wondering if we should amend the amendment, but maybe we can still do that because we haven't voted or anything. But to include a caveat that if the alliance should start moving in a direction that we do not agree with, that we can drop out. I've heard that mentioned by several people, so I'm thinking might not be too bad to put it in the motion.
We can do that if it's the will of the board.
I mean, personally, I feel like that waters down the partnership.
Yeah, I've kind of changed my mind on that too.
I feel like we should vote yay or nay, and not qualify it. Personally, I also think it's somewhat unstated. Like, if for some reason the alliance comes up with some really wacky positions that we don't agree with, I mean, I think it should go without stating that we could pull out, right? Like nothing.
Right.
I don't see this as permanent.
I agree with Bart's statement.
Mark, I was going to say, this is like a marriage. Not everyone agrees all the time, but you work through it.
Right.
We work through things in partnerships. So I'd like to think that that same thing would happen in this case.
Yep, I would agree. So are we ready to vote on the motion?
Deb just had her hand up. No?
Was
Okay.
that? I didn't see the hands. Anybody else? Okay. All those in favor of joining the alliance, as we've talked about it, say aye.
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 Opposed or abstained?
I'm going to abstain because I'm very concerned about what could happen with this thing, and they could end up thinking that they run the whole system, and we have to follow through. But they've always got a right to come in. They've always got a right to talk to the individual members, as long as they ain't a quorum present. And so I think we got to be a little cautious on how we approach on this thing.
Okay, David, so noted. Any negative? I haven't heard anything about that yet. Anybody opposed? Okay, the motion carries. And we are now going to go on their list as working with the alliance. So is there any other business? There's no other business. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Thank you all very, very much for your time tonight.
Thank
and
you.
Take care.